He's
Oh,
cool
man.
with it. Don't worry.
Speaking
No,
from
no.
experience, bro. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
after my divorce, I was doing the internet dating thing, and there was two different occasions. These ladies were out trying to find some strange, and I wrote up anonymous letters and mailed it to their husbands.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and listen, the amount of pain and misery I had to go through, it's the least I could do was spare somebody else the crawling through court on broken glass for 2 years.
Oh, dude, that happened. It's even like my old job. I was getting out of it, so I went over to this couple's house to kind of show them how I operated. And the chick's there with the dude, and she says, "I'm divorcing my husband." And I look at the dude, I'm like, "What?" Like I thought he was her husband. Come to find out, her husband is downrange right now.
Oh yeah,
But this dude was living with her, and I'm like, "Oh my God, this
She
is
had a kid too, ain't it?
a kid, like a 4-year-old kid." And I'm like, "Bro, what the heck?" It's just a mess. And like I found out later that she kind of liked me, but I've been married since I was 18, so I had no intention of it. But I'm like, even if I was single, bro, to do that to another guy, like
yeah.
to a soldier, to like I seen how that messed up Trevor. I'm like, bro, I could not in good conscience
So
do
you're
that.
you're still married?
Yeah, I got married.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I was 18 for like or 19 for like a month maybe when I got
And
married.
you're 28 now?
27, yes,
Well,
sir.
well, congratulations on your 10-year anniversary of,
Thank you. Yeah.
of having a live-in penis massager.
Oh, dude, you don't even know. We're better than we. It's that what they call that, the 7-year itch,
Yeah,
right? That's when it
Yeah.
gets kind of rough. But if you make it through that, dude, you're fucking golden, man.
yeah, yeah. Listen, I mean, a lot of what I do is I'm trying to educate the young guys out there in regards to the dangers of marriage and feminism.
Ooh.
Because the number one reason dudes are flossing out their brain pans with magnums is because they get divorced, turned into slaves, and they lose their kids. That's number one. Second one, unemployment. Both of those things are deeply rooted in a man's identity and purpose. You take those two things away, it's the equivalent of putting a dude on a boat in the middle of a calm ocean with no stars or moon to navigate by, and you take away all of the fucking oars.
Just left
Whoa.
there floating.
You are out there flapping, man.
Yeah, that's
I mean,
kind of
shit
how I
of
came
the
home. But
when
I was lucky enough not to have to not to have children with my ex. I thank
oh,
God
thank
like
God,
every day for that shit, man, because that would have been brutal.
bro.
Yeah. So, what do you guys do for work?
We're trying to get this off the
Off the
ground.
ground?
Yeah, and then I'm
Listen,
going
if
in back
if you
into
want me to
college
be a
for it.
regular guest, I have no problem. I mean, I'll speak anywhere as
Oh,
long as I
yeah.
get a chance to save guys' lives. So,
No, that's awesome because we've
That'd be
gotten
awesome.
messages where like like people just said like y'all helped us or me, and just like especially the guests, like giving them a place to tell their story. It's just like we can tell it helps people and it helps us too.
mhm.
Yeah,
Like
well, that was where it started, man. The VA was giving me a therapy appointment every other month, and I'm
Yeah,
like, dude, I
listen.
need more than this shit.
All right, listen. All right. I want you to go on YouTube and search for the following video. It's called Purple Heart's Final Beat. That was the first video I put out, and it talks about suicide because I made that video shortly after because I was planning, to kill myself. And the only reason that didn't happen is a former commander of mine, about 4 or 5 days prior to my planned exit date, went to the Holly National Cemetery in his dress blues and blew his fucking head off. And the only difference between he and I is he picked a much more scenic location than I did. And like quite literally, that guy took the bullet that was meant for me. And then I guess serendipity fell in, and I got picked to be the NCOIC of his funeral. And I got to see exactly how fucked up it affected everyone, and it totally changed it 180'd my thinking and within a day.
Yeah,
That's fucking crazy. Yeah, I mean,
that's brutal. We just had the Miami police chief just tried to blow his brains out and it didn't work. Now he's just paralyzed, sitting
Yeah.
in the hospital. It's like,
that's
man.
gotta suck so hard, dude.
So yeah, it's because you think you get home, you don't, like you're saying, you don't have you're on unemployment or you don't have unemployment because you're receiving whatever it is, 20% from the VA. Now you can't get it, and now now you have to go through court. Maybe you already went through court, and then now you have, like you said, you have no job. Number one thing people ask men when they shake their hand is, "What do you do for work?" That's like the number one thing.
Yeah, I know.
And if you got nothing to answer, you're like, well, I just got out the military. That whole year when I was trying to figure out what the hell to do, that was miserable because everyone, even when my parents introduced me, hey, this is my son. Oh, that's cool. What do you do for work? I'm like, fuck, nothing right now. Like,
I'm
not
unplugging
doing
my
shit.
life.
I just tell you, I work for the cartel or something.
So what subjects you want to cover?
Really anything, man. Like I actually, to start it, I wanted to cover the methylene blue. Seen you
Yes.
were doing the methylene blue, man. That's yeah.
Oh, what the hell?
You
Okay.
don't see that amongst the older generation. I will say that is not found.
I'm
But
sorry.
it
No.
works, don't it?
Oh yeah.
We should
Yeah,
tap
it's-
into like marriages, especially like court. We don't really have much experience.
Listen,
with court.
you can tell me, ask me whatever in regards to that. I have no problem. I'm just not going to talk directly about any of my family. They're fucking idiots.
Are you okay to share your suicide story?
Yeah, I talk
Hell
about
yeah,
that
okay.
online quite a few times.
Okay. So, yeah, me and
All
Trevor
right,
are
let's
very
get
open
into
about
the,
that. So
Now, and if you want, at the end of the interview, you can attach a copy of Purple Heart's Final Beat and get it out there so maybe it can get in front of more people. Because on my end, I have YouTube like literally, putting their foot on my nuts.
yeah.
And they've been doing it since roughly 2015. I got to like one strike for an anti-suicide video.
how could you?
I got another one for talking about legitimate facts, figures, and stats in the divorce industry. Yeah. So, and
That you might as well be Hitler talking about that kind of stuff.
yeah,
I just launched your Purple Heart's Final Beat and it gave me a warning.
Oh my god.
yeah,
That's how you know there's some good info in there when it gives you a warning, bro.
yeah, it's pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, shit, man.
And,
Let me launch the intro.
did you
here
know
real quick.
if you just use the 22 a day of veteran suicides since roughly when the Gulf War began after 9/11 to today, more veterans have committed suicide than all of the dead from Vietnam, in Korea, and we're now eating into the dead from World War II.
Whoa.
And
The real
and I'm going to argue it's more than 22 a day. They stopped tracking veterans after they've been out of the service for about 5 years.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
That
Yeah, I would argue it's far more than 22.
I mean, I went to probably 12 funerals in regiment when I was there, and 10 of them were suicides. Dudes taking their own life for like their security clearance, finances, wife left them, whatever. Just seeing what that does to the family too. Every time I thought about like, oh, it'd be easier if I wasn't here, I thought about like, oh, my dad or, Trevor. It's like I'm taking that pain and giving it to them. It's like, that's not fair to them. I can't do this.
Yeah, listen, man, the man upstairs, the universe frowns upon that shit. Now, with that being said, if you're an old motherfucker and every day you wake up and you're just miserable in pain and it's not going to get any better and you want to leave your keys at the checkout at the desk, no problem. Or you go to the doctor and you get a really bad diagnosis that's not going to have a good ending. And you ride it out as long as you can tolerate it. And then you're like, it's time to turn this rental in.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe, that makes sense to me. Like if I'm 80, I get like a cancer diagnosis, or me and my wife are both 80.
Cancer, Alzheimer's, diabetes.
She dies, like everyone that I love is gone. I think it's my time, you reach natural stopping point. I'd rather do it where I just like go to sleep, then
Yeah,
blow
I'm
my
gonna
head off
do-
or overdose or something.
There's two options that I would possibly use. One, midnight moontan, and the second one is challenge a Mexican drug cartel to a gunfight.
There you
Oh,
go.
You get
Yeah,
it
there you go.
done
Drive down
quick.
Mexico and see the fake cops that they have.
Yep.
It's like,
Or be
all
like a
those-
Walter White, work for the cartel, and then when you get caught, do it in prison. See if you can make some money first, maybe.
That'll work. Yeah, just start towing the line, bro. How close can you?
Oh, dude,
But
I
yeah,
would
let's
totally
get
do
into.
that,
I'm gonna
dude.
launch this
Let's run that shit, dude.
intro, man. All right. Welcome back to Mind Over Matter. We're on episode 48. Pleased to be here. We got Mr. Popp in the building.
Yes,
All
sir.
right.
Very excited. Very excited. I'll leave his link to his channel and everything in the description. But
It's also on the board behind me.
yeah, there you go. Yeah. Man, it was probably about 8 months ago now. I was still living in my old. No, it's honestly probably a year now. I pulled up your video, and the first video I pulled up had the suicide counter on. I was like, oh shit, we got to get this dude on. Like same purpose, same goal, helping the young men out, just with a lot more experience. A lot more experience.
So you were like you were 24 when you found the video.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
did you finally give up the huggies, or are you good now?
yeah, right. Yeah.
We can
So,
finally
I
get
think
the
I can-
36-pack of Crayola crayons.
Listen, no offense, but every time I get these young bucks coming to my office, if they're younger than 30, I'm like, hey, you still got mama's titty milk on your mouth. Shut up.
It's funny because I feel so
Yeah.
old. I feel like I'm 40, and then like, I don't know. It's good to hear I'm young. I'll say that.
Yeah, you are.
Well,
getting
and
old
that's a
sucks,
big
man.
disconnect. Big disconnect too is just because the older generation speaks differently than us younger folk with the internet.
Mhm.
You know, you go on TikTok and watch 10 videos, you probably have no clue what the fuck they're trying to say.
Oh,
But so
no
like
cap.
it's hard to do that, hard to talk to the younger generation about it without as much experience, but feel like Jordan Peterson, for example, that man, the way he talks, I mean, the 15 to 25-year-olds, that should just go straight over their head just because
Yeah,
he
you're
talks
right.
in a way that like
See, that's why
Oh.
I run my channel. I have several channels, but I have one called Grunt Speak because 33 years in the military, I had to give tens of thousands of briefings to nugs all the way to generals. And when I've literally given briefings to a room of dudes, and I use a bigger word, and I literally watch the needle of their brain come out of the groove, and they're like, and I have to like herd them back like cats. And the best way is I just dummy it down to like a 10th grade, 11th grade education. And it seems to be working out pretty good.
Yeah, the videos you got. We were watching a couple before this. Pretty cut to the chase, no bullshit.
Yeah,
So.
I think I said inculcate one time, and everyone looked at me like I was insane. Like, okay, this ain't gonna work, bro.
Well, I've done a video on PTSD. I've done 2 videos on several videos on suicide. I did a video on depression. That's called Lens of Depression. And then I did another one called Caught in Limbo. And that's usually the combat vets who have that mindset. They're back here going, doing the mundane drumbeat we call life. And all they want to do is go back to the combat zone. But when they're in the combat zone, all they want to do is come home. So they're stuck in between that, and it causes a lot of problems.
So you said you joined in what year?
1986 when I was 17.
Yo, and so like mental health wasn't a big like talking point back then, right?
Nope.
And then when did you like get interested in it? Like what sparked your kind of like, okay, this is a problem?
Well, the mental health thing?
Yes, sir.
Oh, crap. 33 years in the military, I quit counting at 100 the amount of 100 funerals I attended or I was in charge of, right?
Wow.
30% of them, in my opinion, were highly questionable. Or they were either suicides were questionable. That was like 1/3 of all the dirt darts I threw into the ground. There was something going on there. Either they got divorced, they had problems with their kids, all kinds of shit like that. And like for instance, there was this master sergeant. He was about to retire, 28 years in the service, gets hit with divorce papers. 2 weeks later, they fish his carcass out of the lake, and they say accidental drowning. He was drunker than a skunk. Could have been accidental, but I find it highly suspicious that took place just before he died.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you meant by suspicious. I'm like, they know something about the Clintons or something else.
But my thing is this, is like when I did the Purple Hearts Final Beat video, I hope you guys put the link in the description or show the video again.
Down below.
The comment there now.
I literally, every time I heard about a suicide on the news, I searched for it, found a write-up or a eulogy or something else, copied it onto Microsoft Word, and I just did a find and replace. And I looked for divorce, estranged, ex-wife, and there's like 2 other terms that I can't, that aren't on the tip of my tongue. But in 70% of the cases, those words were there. It needs to be formally researched and not ignored like we're doing.
Well, yeah, and the big problem is, as a man, it's like I faced this atrocity. How much of myself am I being weak? Am I being weak for thinking about it? Am I being weak for being sad about it? And how strong should I be as well? So should I speak up about it? Should I not speak up about it? Because we just don't know. I mean, it is a fine line, because then you end up with people playing the victim and everything. And I may have done that for like a couple months, but
No,
but it's like, fuck, man. What do I do with this?
Yeah, well, whenever, like, I have a warrior's mentality. So whenever a set of circumstances appears where I have to make decisions like that, my default setting is fuck you, we're fighting.
Yeah, that's
And you want me to cut back on the swearing? Is
no, that's
because
Kevin won't.
no, I won't. Shit, no. I try, but not good at it.
Yeah, I say too many F-bombs. It's an Army thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we grew up in the Army. Of course, we're gonna fucking say bad words.
Yep.
And that's the other thing. You grow up in the Army. It's not just the Army people. There's plenty of people. Men's suicide in general is going through the roof. It's not just veterans. Veterans is a big point, and that's what we kind of do with our show, is open it up to everybody, so everyone can learn. But
well, the 2 big things, in my opinion, that are driving this horrible tidal wave of suicides is the divorce industry and unemployment, because both of those things are deeply rooted in a man's identity and purpose. You take those 2 things away, and it's the equivalent of taking that man onto a boat in the middle of a calm ocean. You cannot see the shore. There are no stars. There is no moon to navigate by, and they take away the goddamn oars. It sucks.
Yeah,
and that's just such a perfect way of putting it, because that's exactly how I felt. That's why I ended up trying, putting a gun to my head. And it's so ridiculous too, because most of the time you're going through the divorce, and it's a woman who couldn't give less of a shit about you.
Correct.
And you're willing to take your life because of someone who literally doesn't give a fuck about you.
Well, listen,
it's such a weird, it doesn't make sense.
These men are making permanent, solutions for a temporary problem.
Yep.
Like one of the
the
philosophies that I use in my comedy that help guys, not kill themselves, is simply play the goddamn long game. All right, the longer you're here, the more opportunities the universe is going to put before you, and it could radically change your life if you take one of those opportunities.
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right about that. Because as men, when you break up, right, you want to get revenge on the other person. Women, it's easy. They'll just go out and sleep around. That takes a day at most. Our revenge is being successful and living happy. That takes a lot longer.
Yes, it does.
Yep.
I wanted to ask, so like, what is it about the divorce process that makes men so feel so purposeless?
All right. Number one. All right. Do you believe in you've watched magicians, right? Everyone's seen magicians. And they have
Chris
those
Angel,
magic
yeah.
words they say and shit that fucking magically happens. Well, women have that too. It's called I'm not happy. They say the three
Yeah.
magic words and you literally lose half your shit, half your income. You're a wage slave until your kids turn 18 or 21, depending upon the state. And you might even have to be forced to pay for their indoctrination college. All right. And then they take away your kids. And if you're one of those guys who's fortunate enough to get his kids 2 times a month, because that's the standard, because, 96 hours a month a father does not make. And every time you have your kids, you're with them for a couple days, then you have to take them back to the black-hearted witch with the steel wool pussy.
Yo,
And, it's like you're basically processing that every single time like a death. So if you're visiting your kids for 15 years, you processed a death 2 times a month for 15 goddamn years. You know how depressing that can get? Holy crap.
wow. And
And
then
you
the
can't
wife's
stop.
talking shit about you while you're gone.
Character assassination is SOP for women.
Huh.
In fact, I came up with a webinar where I'm actually training people how to use the bureaucracy of any nation they're in to fight back against these, wretched bitches in the system. It's called Administrative Violence, Divorce, and Custody Edition. And literally, I walk you through all the steps of how to get your significant other, caught in the gears of other bureaucracies.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Because I was
if you fight just in divorce court, you're going to goddamn lose, because all you have is Civil War sabers, black powder rifles, and maybe some horses. They got tanks, they got helicopters, jets, machine guns, because women have the laws of the 21st century, and we're still stuck with the divorce laws from the late 1800s. It is a bloodbath.
I have heard that, like divorce courts and like child custody courts they favor women in most cases, especially if it's a veteran.
Do you know what the statistics are?
No, please.
it's like 80% women win.
85% of the time, the woman will be given custody of those kids. And many times, even if she's a convicted, of a felony, on drugs, or sucking dick for a living.
85% of the
85%.
time?
And here's a better one. When I was going through my divorce, I'm one of those guys, I like to thoroughly understand the battlefield I will be interacting in, and I need to know exactly who and what my enemy is and what they can do.
Okay.
And my buddy had a computer firm for a bunch of attorneys. So I had free access to LexisNexis, and there was another law search algorithm program. And if you back out the uncontested, meaning the mother doesn't even show up in court, that's 7% of the time. So if you take that 7% out of the equation, these women get custody 93% of the time.
Wait a minute. So if a woman shows up to court,
no, if she shows up, she gets an 85% chance of getting that kid. All right. So
Okay.
that's your base 85%. That leaves 15% for the guy. But 7% of the time, the guy gets custody because the mother doesn't show up. So you can't even really include that 15% as being accurate.
Oh,
what the
okay.
fuck?
So literally, that guy's getting a 7% chance of getting custody of his kids. I mean, at what point do we say this is fucking unconstitutional? Is it 51% of the time? What is it? Because I'm already up to 93% of the time. It's insane.
You think?
Yeah, no, treat that bitch like Hitler. You're right. Fight her on two fronts.
Oh, you
man.
have to, bro. Like you're already you only got a 7% chance if you fight fair. Like,
Yeah.
How can any court or any government see that figure and think, oh, whatever.
Well, that's just
yeah.
they are not going to see that figure until there's a barricaded gunman across from the courthouse every fucking day across America. That's when they're like, well, maybe we went a little too far. By the time that happens, it's going to be too late. There's a lot of men out there just waiting for the laws of this country to collapse and do bad things. Now, I myself don't condone that, and I am not going to participate, but I'm not going to lift a finger to stop it. In fact, I will pop some popcorn and watch the show.
That'd be a good ass show, man. Watching the men finally take over again, man. Because when I was living with my girlfriend when I found you. She moved in, and
what?
It was my first. Yeah, hey man, I was it was first time first girl I met out
with the
Army.
wrong head. Yeah.
Come on. Come. But it opened my eyes, and I was watching that, and I was watching a video on this. You brought up like the millennial women, and I'm like, son of a bitch, that's her. Oh no, that's her. Oh no, that's. I'm like, oh no, what have I done?
No.
Do you know how many times when I was still on active duty, I'd have soldiers come into my office and go, "Did you bug my house?" And I'm like, "What?" Like that last video you did, it was almost exactly the conversation I had with my soon-to-be ex-wife 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, soon to be. Yep.
Yeah.
You're like, fuck, because you were going through this, and it's like, why would I ever get married again? I have no reason to get married again. What the fuck? What am I doing out here getting married just so she could yoink my shit?
Yeah, I did a video called "Sell Me Marriage." That was a good one. Listen, if you guys want to get a good laugh, you watch the video I did called Challenge Accepted, and where I mathematically prove it is completely feasible for a woman to get 500 miles of dick run through her before the age of 52.
500 miles?
Yeah.
She's
Holy
hiking,
shit.
dude.
Hiking, bro. And that's probably got to be the average. There's some 2,000 women out there.
Yeah.
With the Prius out there.
Another criteria I try to teach the young man is listen, you have to understand that the dick stacking test. You're with a woman, you talk with her, you get a ballpark figure of how many roosters she sat on. You just take that number, multiply it by 6 and divide by 12. And in your mind, you put a platform at that height and you push them off. They so much as get a skin knee, too many cocks.
Yo, that was a big thing with her, though. She was a big body count doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah. Scientifically proven, the minute a woman goes over 5 partners, her chances of staying in a committed relationship / marriage goes down astronomically.
It's like I think there's a lot of like when you have sex with someone, your souls kind of intermingle, right? Like there's a soul aspect to sex, and like once you get up with like 30 people you slept with, man, like you're not really capable of doing that. It's like your ability has gone numb almost, I think.
Well, yeah, they break their oxytocin receptors. So they wind up in this, after they do that, they date men for 2 years and then the feels go away and they got to get the feels back. They find another dude, again, another 2 years. And as they get older, that time frame will shorten. And, it's literally a slow motion train wreck. You just can't.
They get told that's an empowering thing to do, though, is to sleep around with a bunch of men when they're young women.
Yeah, hey, look, if they want to swallow a quart of throat yogurt every week, go ahead. I don't care. Don't expect me to write a check against you when you get old and you fall off the penis. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, that was. Go ahead, Trevor.
The one we were just watching was the. I don't know what we were watching, but you were saying that masculinity, when women get it, the masculinity trait is a good thing. But when a man is more like masculine, it's just, what the fuck is this man doing? It's toxic.
Yeah,
but it's a trait. How could you can't go both ways with a trait of a human?
What about this? If you were a real man, I've heard that dozens of times since I started doing this. And I literally look these women in the face and go, bitch, I fucking jumped into fucking combat. I led men in battle and war. Do not tell me if I'm a man or not, because I tested my manhood against the anvil of war and I passed with flying colors. So
Yep.
shut your
Over and over
damn
again.
normal thinking mouth.
I came up with something to like kind of make it make sense to my wife. Is like a woman when she says, "Oh, I'm independent and strong and I make my own money, don't need no man." That would be the equivalent to me saying, "I'm really good at makeup." You're gonna think, okay, that's weird. Like that's not a manly thing to be good at. It's the same thing with us when you say, "Oh, I don't need a man, I'm independent." It's off-putting. Like when Trevor tells me he has a new girlfriend, most of the time I'm just saying, well, I say most of the time like it happens constantly. My first reaction would be what's she look like, right? But if she got a new boyfriend, her friends are going to ask, what's he do? How much does he make?
Yeah. And older dudes are different. Like I've had some of my buddies, get girlfriends. And the first thing I ask is her pussy stink?
Oh,
and they're like, what?
That's a good test right there.
Get right into it, bro.
Asking the tough questions.
Well, you see how I got you. You both, you guys are laughing, right?
Yeah.
The premise of my entire channel is I use comedy with truth. I get these guys laughing, and what they don't understand is I'm literally flipping switches and pushing buttons in their thinking me, trying to save them from making a lot of the stupid mistakes that I made when I was young and dick thinking myself.
Man,
Yep.
I'm a big comedy guy. Yeah. Like when I was trying to get Trevor closer to God years ago, and I'm like, I know I'm not going to do this by just preaching towards him. It's comedy. So like we'd get off early on a Friday and I go, man, God is good. Just trying to get him to laugh. But I could tell that it was working, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, because that was also when I was married at the time, and I'd come in with like, this bitch didn't do the fucking dishes again.
Oh,
And he'd
man.
like, man.
How long were you
it's like
married?
it was 3.5, 4 years, something like that.
All right.
I got lucky. I tell you, I thank God every day. I was one of the lucky few in the military that got out like not unscathed, but
Yeah,
I
good
would
at
say
least.
the punch out years for most marriages in years is 7, 13, 21, and 24. If you make it past 24 years, if you're married, your chances of getting divorced go way down. But that's exceedingly rare. And are you familiar with the most current marriage stats?
I'm not.
I am not.
Did you know 5.1 people are getting married per 1,000? Now,
5.1?
5.1. I just want to know what guy got, his both 2 arms and 1 leg sawed off so they could count him as a 0.1.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what the
It's
fuck?
like that scene in Monty Python. It's just
Yeah.
a stump. We'll call
And
it
I
a
want to bring
draw.
that number to 0 because the way that this civilization treats men, they do not deserve our efforts.
Right. And that's when it's gonna stop
Yeah.
when you finally realize, look, the men aren't doing shit anymore. The men, even now, the men aren't going to work. The men aren't. I mean, the men are killing themselves. They'd rather kill themselves than work in this evil ass fucking society that we have. Where I would love nothing more than to have a wife, as many children as I can, and live off the land, because that's what America's about.
Yeah.
But you literally fucking can't anymore. You
Well,
literally can't. Every day you're thinking, because like you said too, it's emotional thinking. One day it's good, the next day she's pissed, and she makes a decision when she's pissed to get divorced or whatever it is, and now you're completely fucked. Everything, it could be a light switch and you're done.
Yep.
You're not
And that's
just,
what it was.
you're not just completely fucked. You are savagely ass rape fucked by the courts. There is no lube and you ain't getting no stitches.
Yep.
And it sucks too, because like you're told your masculinity, those are your natural kind of inclinations, that is evil.
Mm-hmm.
And so you stop that behavior and your testosterone levels go down. Now you're getting bent over by the courts. And it's like you don't even want to fight that. You just want to take it at that point because you've just been turned into mush.
No.
Yeah,
I fought them tooth and goddamn nail. I had my ex-wife in court like every 22 to 25 days for almost 2 goddamn years.
Whoa.
And
It
it
was in
finally
there.
came to an end when the judge, you know, I've been doing this for quite a few times. He's like, listen, if you file any more paperwork, we're going to throw you in jail for contempt of court. I'm like, let's go. Let's do it right now. I have no problem going to jail. I went to SEER school, whatever. Let's do this. But be prepared for the active army to show up here with their lawyers and go, what the fuck just happened? Because I am following the process that I'm allowed to do by law. So the judge is like, okay, all right, let's just go back to my chambers. And he sits down. He goes, all right, what's going on, man? I go, listen, this fucking every other weekend shit is bullshit. She's playing games, not letting me see my kid. She shows up late. She does all this stupid stuff. I want 3 weekends a month, and I want them Friday after school, and I will drop them off at school on Monday. And my ex-wife starts throwing this fucking fit. And I go, Your Honor, why do I have to miss out on the school experience as well? And he's like, you're right. That's it. 3 weekends a month. You're good.
It's crazy you had to fight so hard. Yeah, that isn't.
Yeah, it was a battle of attrition, actually, because I tell all the guys who watch my channel, if they're caught in this turmoil, learn how to fill out the paperwork yourself. So I'd go to pick up my kids. They wouldn't come out the door. I call the cops. The cops show up and say, hey, it's a civil matter. Got it. But now I go to the police station, get a printout of the radio log, attach it to my motion stating the cops were called to this location. He was there. He could not get his kids. And every time that would happen, I would fill out the paperwork and I'd go to court without a lawyer. She'd show up with her attorney, and she didn't know it at the time, but I was reading her email.
Oh.
And it was costing her like $500 every time this happened.
I was going to say, how did you afford to go to court?
500 of your money too.
No. You just have to file the $75 filing fee. And
but how much did you have to pay her for child support and all that extra bullshit?
Oh yeah, they're
she's just taking that and and putting it right. All she's doing is fighting you for it again. Yeah, every week.
Check this out. Like in the beginning, she was upset because she wasn't getting enough money. It was this battle over $300, and after like the third or fourth time, I'm like, I'm literally in court. I just had enough, and I have no filter. So I'm like, come on, this is $300. She could suck 6 dicks and knock it out in half a Saturday.
3 if she's good at it.
And the judge literally is looking at me, and you can see him want to laugh. You see his mouth do look.
Yeah.
Because I have to go back to the chambers. And then at the back of the court by the door, this guy's like, what? He like runs out. You can hear him laughing in the hallway. About 10 minutes later, the judge comes out and he goes, okay, can we stop the comedy relief in my courtroom, please?
This isn't Judge Judy, sir.
Dude, I listen, that's one of the reasons I got in trouble in the Army is when my brain healed from the TBI, all of the filters didn't come back. So I
faced a decent amount of trouble myself for laughing too much and making too many jokes.
God. This always smiling, dude.
But then, like you said, dude, you get out and that part's over. You have no one to laugh with anymore.
Yeah,
it's hard to make jokes. No one understands your jokes, dude. I would go out to the bars with my brother and his friends, and I would make some dark ass joke about suicide or some stupid shit, and they would all look at me like I had fucking 3 eyes. They would look at me like I'm insane.
You had a hard unicorn cock, sticking out your forehead.
Yeah.
I did that with my wife sometimes. Like we went grocery shopping a few months ago, and someone like just yelled like loud and abrupt when we were walking out. I'm like, I should have fucked with them and just got down in the fetal position, started crying and screaming or something. But she understood it though. She's a nurse, so she kind of understands what that is. But yeah, it's hard to find people that understand it when you get out. I will say that.
Yeah, but here's another thing: is if you serve in the military, everyone is going to develop that sense of humor. You have to keep your sanity.
Oh yeah.
And they get out of the service and they forget that skill set. And all I'm doing is reawakening it to give them some additional strength to ride out the storm.
That's all we really need, man. That's what we're trying to do too, is create a big platform where you can laugh, or at least even like the people that didn't go in the military, teach them how to laugh at that shit. Because you don't teach that, you don't learn that in the real world, to laugh at these crazy situations going on.
No, you don't.
The military is one of a kind in that aspect. So
I like too, just like showing people what veterans are actually like. Like I think a lot of people when they hear veteran, they think like PTSD, that we all are gonna just start screaming or something. I don't know, but it's like we're actually pretty normal people. We all have different things, but by and large, we're pretty chill people.
Well, I fight the PTSD thing because I would say I have it moderately bad. Like I have a hard time driving in rush hour traffic. I try to avoid traffic circles. I can't smell burnt bacon, and I have a hard time in a butcher shop that has like exposed dead meat, because a lot of stuff I was exposed to on active duty. And listen, everyone has a buffer in their brain pan. You see too much and you go over that, and it starts to wear on you.
Yeah, I mean, it took me, like, after I got back from my last deployment in Afghanistan, it was like June 2020. I spent the whole early pandemic out there, and I got back. It took me probably 2 years to be able to go in a grocery store without wearing my headphones, because I got so used to wearing them out there, and I felt uncomfortable, like I was naked almost if I didn't have them on.
Yeah, so what was your job in Afghanistan?
I was an engine mechanic. So back at the house, I did quality control for the engine shop. So I'd check Trevor's work, and then over there, I was the engine mechanic, and I had a Chinook quality controlman looking at me.
All right, so you weren't walking around slinging lead at people.
Oh heck no!
Yeah. Lucky we weren't, man.
No.
Well, a lot of the guys that I served with were there doing a lot of that. How should I call it? Snake hunt for these individuals, and a lot of them, took contractor gigs and worked for another decade on the border of Pakistan and Iraq and the border of Afghanistan. In Afghanistan itself, they made an insane amount of money. But and they're like, Popp, you can make all this money. And I'm like, I can do that work for my country, but I don't think I could look at myself in the mirror if I was doing that, getting paid.
Like a mercenary.
That much. Yeah. That's tough.
That's like one of because I don't think either of us saw like direct combat. Like I thought I shot someone on accident one time, but our stuff was more of like non-combat things, like
we were lucky, dude. We were out there with SEALs and shit, so we didn't have to do anything. Like, keep this guy safe because we need him for the fucking engine. Like, no one else here can fix the engine. Keep him in a room. Don't put him anywhere.
But like when I was
stay here,
when I was in DJ, we were flying over to Yemen like every other day, and it's like that's a 3-hour flight at nighttime. We're like 30 feet over the water. I'm like, if anything goes wrong, I'm just dead.
That's right. You're going to be road pizza.
Yep, and it's like I'm thinking that movie Spies Like Us, if you've seen it.
Yeah.
Where they show up and they're like, "They're our allies," and they go, "We're Americans." Next thing you know, they're strung up by their heels, about to get executed. Like, even if I live, I'm going to swim to Yemen, and I'm like, "What are they going to put me up in the Ritz-Carlton, man?"
Nah, man, they're going to give you the same treatment they gave that ambassador they killed. They raped that dude for like 36 hours, and then they killed him.
Bad too, bro.
Yeah, and our media here will deny that, up and down. But all you got to do is look at the papers from the Middle East around that time. They tell you exactly what happened. Who are you going to believe? I believe them.
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah. Their track record, too, is not very good of taking care of us when we go over there.
Yeah.
How do you, because a big thing with me when I got home and when I got out was realizing that it's all pretty much a scam.
Oh, yeah.
Like, the government is a scam.
Oh, yeah.
All of it's a scam, especially you being in during 9/11. Like, how do you deal with those type of thoughts? Because those will tear you apart real fucking fast.
Well, one, I talk here. Hang on. I talk about it in my book in regards to anger, rage, and
link down below.
And I get mad at that kind of shit. I get really mad. But because I had to changed the way I was thinking because my brain got damaged. I only allow those negative emotions in the engine room, and they can shovel as much coal in the furnace as they want to keep everything going. And quite literally, that's where a majority of my strength comes from now, just to tolerate that kind of crap.
Yeah, that's such a tough thing too. Like, do I feel duped in a way? Like I was
I
fighting.
did.
Yeah, no.
Oh
It's like
yeah. No, I came home crying to my parents because I moved back in with my parents, and I was smoking weed at the time, so I had to explain to them more of my mind so that I could. They're not a fan of weed, so I had to explain more to them why I was smoking, and that was one of the things. It's like, dude, I went over there, risked my life for them not to give two fucks about me, and then I didn't realize 9/11 was even like fake news until I got out, and I was like, oh my god! So now everything, like the reason I did everything is just a lie. Like I lived almost a lot. They got my ass. Like they fucking got
got you,
me
bro.
good, man.
Well, what
It's
you're
just tough.
explaining is called red pill rage.
Red pill rage.
Yep. Red pill is basically when you realize, you were living your life with the blue pill thinking, and you bought into all of the lies and propaganda, truth, justice, American way, blah, blah, blah. And then you find out, nope, you're going to get it broken off in your ass, and we don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
It literally, it'll mess you up for a few years until you can come out the back end of that meat grinder.
And then you also have to make it those few years, and that's what happens to the veterans. You don't make it. You don't make it the year, 2 years that you need to figure out what the hell's actually happening in the world.
And that's why I want them to watch my channel.
Mm-hmm.
And think about, like, that's been historically the case. Like Vietnam, World War II, all these wars have been just full of lies, and it's like we're told we're the good guys. Like, well, maybe we aren't. And it's
Yeah,
like,
how
well,
could you be the good guy in everything you take part in? That right there is a red flag to me. You cannot be the good guy in everything.
ain't
Well,
no good
see,
guys, bro.
that's another mindset I used when I was in that kind of keep me on the sane side. Is there is no black and white in reality. There's just different shades of gray. And everyone operates on that scale.
Absolutely.
So when I was in the war zone, I would go to great lengths to make sure other Americans were not killed. And in the process, bombs were dropped, missiles were fired, shit happened. I'm sure there's a lot of individuals wandering around in the next world with my name fresh upon their lips. But that's just the way that's just the way you got to be.
Yeah, I think about that too. Like, yeah, I was duped by my government, but I'd like to think that I helped some of my friends that I was over there with too. Like a lot of family issues, some laughs, like made things a little bit easier for them. That's what kind of was like, okay, there is cut the good stuff. You know, it's not all bad.
And when I was the first sergeant, I'd have guys come in from mission, and some crazy shit went on. And I'd always gather them up, and I'd make them talk about it.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
if you can talk about it immediately before that shit soaks in,
Yep.
it adds a lot of positive outcomes. Because if you keep it bottled up, and as you progress in time, I call it soul cancer. It literally it eats your soul away, and these guys wind up drinking themselves to death, or killing themselves, or just living very risky lifestyles that usually wind up with them having to turn in their meat suit for the mineral deposits.
That's a huge thing in the 160th, man. Like, you go overseas and you're back a day and a half later, and you're going to work that next day. It's like you don't even pause and try to reconcile anything.
Yeah.
Like,
No one to talk to, because even therapy inside is you get once every month and a half. You talk to it at work, everyone thinks you're a pussy. It's like, who do I talk to, man? Like, fuck.
Yeah, you guys were support, right? I was combat arms, and I used to have two bad habits that most of my commanders absolutely despised in me, and that would be leading from the front by example.
Oh
And-
no! Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Boo! That'll
lot-
get you.
I'm serious. A lot of those officers hated my guts because I made them look like shit.
There go
Mhm.
year-end COERs. Yep.
So I mean, really, I'd be like, well, the guys who go out in the sector, I'm going with them. Well, you can't go. Okay.
Well, yeah. What am I supposed to stay here and twiddle my thumbs while they're out
no,
there?
no.
Get the fuck out of here, man.
No. And every single unit I was ever in, like when I was a platoon sergeant, squad leader, first sergeant, I always treated the unit like an island of misfit toys. And I can't tell you how many times I'd go up to the head shed, that's headquarters, and there's like 4 or 5 guys on the bench getting processed out because they think they're a bunch of douchebags. I would go pull their jacket, look at their PT, look at their schools. If they're NCOs, I look at NCOERs. And most of the time, I'd be like, hey, you want this to happen, or do you want to come to my unit, my platoon, my company, and we'll see if we can retread you and fuck your life.
Mhm.
Dude.
And, like the 3rd platoon, the Kings of the Damned in Iraq, like I just got moved out from being their platoon sergeant, and those guys saved a lot of lives, and carried the unit for that entire deployment. And and all of them were broken toys that I put back together.
No,
Yeah, and we talked to one of our buddies a lot. He was on the show too, Jay, and he really, I never thought of it this way, but we're basically just sophisticated psychopaths.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and then we get out, and now we're just in the normal world. We're all psychopaths, not being taken care of anymore.
Well-
No one watching over us anymore.
I'm more of a conditioned sociopath.
Okay.
I
mean-
like that. That's a good term.
I have that switch in my brain where I no longer care, and I just go about my mission. Feelings don't fucking matter. And you just do what you got to do.
You got to get the job done.
That's right, because men don't have the luxury of doing what we want to do. Men have to do what they need to do. There is
Yep.
no safety net. There is no cavalry coming to your rescue, man. You want to make it to the shore? You better start swimming.
I did want to point out though, they're so quick to punish like the junior guys too. Like about 2 months before I got out, they put the UCMJ list on the urinal, and it was like you'd see a PV2 or specialist get charged with the same crime as a CW3 or 4, and like they pop hot on UA, and it just says for the CW3 like a letter of whatever, a letter of reprimand
Yeah.
or something.
And listen,
Yeah.
there was very little I could do for a soldier who pissed hot, because the regs are the regs. There's nothing I could do. But I stepped in and I stopped probably 50 Article 15s in my career.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I literally, like, I show up at the sergeant major and I'm like, what the fuck's going on, sergeant major? You're gonna crucify my guy? You didn't even fucking talk to me? Didn't give me a chance to punish him first? This is fucked up. I'm gonna appeal it.
It makes
Well,
people
What are you gonna do? I'm like, well, he's gonna do a 25 fucking mile road march. He's probably
Oh,
dig a couple
dude.
foxholes. Have him, cleaning out vehicles and repainting the parking lot just to get started. But I'm not fucking gonna do paperwork on the guy and take away rank and stuff. Because guess what? Maybe he wants to stay in, and one day he'll apply for your fucking job, Sergeant Major, and they won't give it to him because you gave him some fucked up paperwork when he was 19, 20 years old, and he's still a goddamn child, in my opinion.
Yeah.
That's what we did. We give you the option. You want to get smoked or you want to put this on paper?
Yeah.
Every single time they would get smoked, dude.
Yeah. And I literally, guys, 10, 20 years later, track me down and thank me for just, punishing them that way and not doing the paperwork.
Oh man, yeah. One of me and Trevor's really great friends, he got a DUI when he first got to the regiment. And I've seen that go where they just kick you out automatically or they just don't do anything. And he got punished a little bit, but he ended up being a really great soldier. I'm like, that's so great. They could have kicked him out, no questions asked, but they took a chance on me and he ran with it.
And I want to applaud you, Popp, because there are very few leaders like that. And even the guy Kevin's talking about, the leader trying to kick him out also got a DUI.
Yeah.
So
Like
you're trying
this, the platoon
ruin
sergeant,
this
the
dude's
same
life.
guy.
Yeah, you're trying to ruin this dude's life for a mistake you made. You don't want to lead from the front. You don't want it. You went through this. Help him go through this. Like,
I
what
lost
the
so
fuck?
much respect for that guy right away, dude.
Yeah,
Oh my
yeah.
God.
And like I learned that lesson from my first platoon sergeant because I was in the army like 3 fucking weeks. I have a knockdown, drag out brawl with this Mexican at Family Day, and a colonel's wife got knocked in the water. Somebody got knocked into the fire pit. It was just a clusterfuck.
Family days, bro. They're
Yeah.
fun.
So me and this guy, we get called up to the head shed. Sergeant Major is just, we're gonna get maxed out, field grade Article 15, blah blah blah. And my platoon sergeant shows up, and he basically said the same speech I did. He's like, "What the fuck, Sergeant Major? These are my guys. You're gonna punish them without even talking to me." He goes, "Well, they were fighting at Family Day." He goes, "They're fucking infantry. That's what we train them to do. And then you give them beer, shit's gonna happen."
A lot of beer too at our family days.
At a fucking family day.
So literally, this Mexican and I wound up sawing up 2 telephone poles with old lumberjack saw into little fucking wafers. I like ripped the skin off my hands. It was just a fucking nightmare. And then we took a wood burner and we had to burn a formal apology into all of these wood wafers and then deliver them to all of the families that were there who lived on post.
But you were still in the army, though.
I was still in the army, and I didn't take no extra money.
No, I love that. I got promoted to a staff sergeant like the last week I was there, and I was, I think, 25 or 24 at the time. Like, I was young, but I'm like, I'm just gonna use this, man. I'm getting out in a year, but like just helping people out when they needed like an E6, dude. It was so great, bro. I remember.
You walk into S1 with an E6, no one's saying shit to you, bro. You're getting your paperwork right there.
One dude, he's like, I need you to email this lady. They need an E6 to do it, and just ask for my paperwork. I'm like, your paperwork? He goes like, yeah, just ask her for my paperwork. She'll know what you're talking about. I'm like, fuck it, okay. Ask her for the paperwork, get it. Don't even look at him. Send it right to him, bro. Good to go. Like, it could have been a huge situation, but it didn't need to be. I'm like, fuck it. I'm just going to use the rank that the Army gave me, dude.
Yeah, I got yelled at pretty much once a week for my entire military career.
Oh, hell yeah.
And sometimes and there's about 3 different times I got yelled at by generals, bunch of colonels. I didn't really count ass chewings from lieutenant colonels and below because I'm a triple tab guy. My mojo, I can turn back their bullshit. I have a hard time with a full-bird colonel, and I don't stand a chance against a general.
Oh, dude, yeah,
you might stand a chance against today's general, dude.
Yeah,
you mean General Milley, who should be one of the
fat ass, bro,
one of the YMCA crew.
Dude, you should have seen how many times I got yelled at for this guy right over here to my left, man. I will say, it gave me the perspective. Like, it helped me realize, bro, if I don't care about you, I don't really care at all. Like when you got that speeding ticket, we were getting yelled at both at parade rest in that dude's office. I'm like, bro, this dude's a fucking turd, bro. Why do I care what he thinks? He's not going to take my rank, bro. Who cares?
Yeah, I had to deal with that. I had 2 of my supply sergeants in the GSA van. There's a GPS tracker on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
89 miles an hour in a 65.
You do not want to be going fast in those things, man.
So I'm sitting there at the desk, and they throw this fucking report in front of me. I'm like, yeah, what's this? It's not your supply sergeants were reckless driving. I'm like, were they pulled over? No? Oh, okay, I'll talk to them.
Yeah.
I didn't make a big deal out of it because it's stupid.
Or, bro, Trevor, when you got in trouble for those boots, bro, I'm like, this dude would rather me have this man in formation with these tiny boots than to be comfortable and just look a little bit bad. And he's going to be in the back of the formation. Like, you care about how you look. This isn't about Trevor. This is about you.
Bro, I was in boots like 4 sizes too small.
Oh,
and it's not because like my boots were like terribly ate up. Dude, they have oil and shit on. I'm working for you. If you want to do the math. Like, yeah, I'm working so hard for you.
Well, how tall are you?
I'm 5'10".
All right. So what size shoe you wear?
5'11".
I was 11.
That's a pretty common size. Now, I've had that problem with soldiers who suffer from MALARS. And it's an acronym for man of ludicrous size.
Oh yeah.
Which like the size 14 or larger. You got a special. You got to have your shit custom made.
No, like I was already out in the formation, and like Trevor walks out. The platoon sergeant looks at him, looks at me. He's like, "What the fuck is the matter with him?" I'm like, "I don't fucking know." Like he's a working guy, you know. But he's like, "Fix it." I'm like, "Oh god, here we go." Like literally ran upstairs, found a pair of boots that was clean. Like, I'm sorry, dude. Like I felt so horrible about that. But like, what am I supposed to do? Like he was tracking you were going to be there. That was the big problem.
No,
Yeah.
another guy that that happened to, he showed me his feet, and they were just, I mean, his toes were fucked. He was losing toenails and shit. So I literally took out my knife. I cut the end off the boot so you could see his toes.
Oh, what the hell? That's
And
what
like what is that? That's unserviceable. And I'm like, well, it's unserviceable before, but the only difference is now he's not losing toenails because you guys can't get him the right boots.
Yeah, I should have done. Yeah, just cut the top off the small boots and paste them on your boots or something.
Yeah,
like malicious compliance. If we had more time, I would have done that. But dude, I felt so bad about that.
Yeah, I was very good with the malicious compliance.
Yeah, I love that shit, man.
That's how you fight back, man. That's how you fight back against the lunacy. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's some good times. And so you guys been doing this podcast for how many months?
It's about a year now.
A year.
I think just past a year, yeah.
We came a long way from the first one, though. Yeah,
that's for damn sure.
First one, I was on my phone and my wife beater. Just wanted to get some content cranked out, man.
Nothing wrong with that.
No,
and that was that was like, dude, I have literally like nothing else to live for. I ought to just do fucking something, man. Like literally anything. It's better than
what you just said. There are the primary words a man uses when he's hunting for purpose.
Mm-hmm.
That was our first episode. Was on purpose.
Yeah. Listen, men don't seem to realize how important having a purpose is.
Oh, absolutely.
It's the equivalent of, like, for instance, see, I got sent to NTC, which I've been there 3 times. I know it's 3 weeks long. I can stand on my head in a bucket of shit for 3 weeks because I know it's going to end. Because I have purpose. I know it's going to start. I know it's going to end. This is what I'm doing. You take that away from a dude, man. Holy crap. It causes hopelessness. And what I do is I'm just trying to reawaken the comedian in these guys. So when they're stuck on that boat in the middle of nowhere, they can laugh their ass off, generate their own fucking light, and get the hell out of there under their own power.
I mean, yeah, that's why I got out, though. We stopped deploying every year, and like we have only 4 months of deployment, and they're going to give that to the young guys. Like, I'm not taking the fight to the enemy. We're flying for what purpose? This is right after the Afghanistan thing happened. It's like, I have no purpose here. We're not fighting wars. It just,
I got you.
Yeah. Do you mean the capstone didn't help you out on your way to get out?
Finding my purpose? No, dude. It took me forever. I mean, it's a process.
Go through that.
It's a process we're still working on, man. But no, just having that, like, what I was good at and what I enjoy doing and found purpose in is been taken away from me. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to get jaded and pissed off, and the guys don't deserve that kind of leadership. So,
well, I can respect that. But when it happened to me, because I did 21 years in Spec Ops on jump status, and when I got moved to a desk, it was very hard. Yeah. And I just had to change my mindset. Like, okay, I'm just going to have to train these guys so they don't make stupid mistakes and get killed. And it was very hard, because we just couldn't get the resources, the ammo for me to run them through the firing tables that you need for pre-deployment. So I commandeered a bunch of materials,
as we say. Yeah,
I built a shoot house behind the unit, and I paid out of my own pocket for all of the airsoft rifles and pistols. Whoa. Because airsoft, it stings. It's not going to kill you. You got glasses on. You're pretty much fine. But it's the same concept and the same muscle memory. And I would take these guys out and run them through all the drills. Assault a building, castle keep, fight to a vehicle, fight back from a vehicle, meeting gone bad, near and far ambush. And I ran them through it. And the best thing that happened is I sent a company of guys to Iraq, and some of those teams saw some pretty significant action. They all made it back home, And then one of the guys pulls me aside and he's like, I want to thank you. And I'm like, for what? He goes,
Yeah.
when we were having the firefight, I didn't hear shit other than you in my ear yelling, why are you not shooting?
That seems like something you get in trouble for, actually, nowadays.
I don't care.
Oh, yeah.
Like I always operate on forgiveness. That's why I got my ass chewed all the time.
Like, it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission.
Absolutely. Especially with all the mediocre, incompetent leaders that are in the military now, that they literally will not make decisions. Your company commander is going to ask the battalion commander. He's going to ask the brigade commander. Who's going to ask the division commander. Who's going to ask the fucking corps commander. And it's 3 days between all that. That's 18-day turnaround for the permission you need to do an operation. Holy shit. That is stupid.
Yeah, I've always thought, any decision is better than no decision, I think.
Absolutely. And I got my ass yelled at quite a few times for that. And I don't care.
But that's what we need in the military, though.
Yeah.
It's like we talked about that shit too, the COVID shit. You were lucky to not be in during that, man. They jabbed my ass real good.
We got swindled so hard. I'll be more swindled or upset about the COVID thing than anything like I had to do for the government that's corrupt, bro.
Well, hang on. All right. We have 100% volunteer force. Now, in what flowchart of insanity is it a logical thing to do to treat your volunteer force like a bunch of goddamn guinea pigs?
Yep.
They could fuck off. And I will tell that to their goddamn faces.
It's like you got the most fit people, 18, 25, 18 to 30.
Young, bro.
The most fit people, physically and mentally fighting for you, voluntarily, like you said. And this virus that's affecting 65 and up, you want to inject them with some unknown bullshit? Like, come on. And not just like inject them, dude. They told me you're not going on leave. You're not going to deploy. You're not going to do anything unless you get this shot. And so I got the fucking shot. And then 3 months later, they're like, oh, yeah, by the way, you're getting fucking med boarded. Good luck.
Yo, dude. Because they were like, we're going to kick you out if you don't get this thing. And we had a shop of, I think, 18 guys. One guy held out. Now, I'll always respect him for it, dude. Because he held out the whole time and they didn't kick him out. And I'm like, dude, I just wish I'd have done that, man. Like,
unfortunately, that's one of those bitter lessons men learn as they age. You see a good example. You didn't do the same thing. There's a little bit of shame, but next time that circumstance comes up, you're gonna be like, I remember that motherfucker did that. I'm doing the same thing.
Yep.
I remember thinking, out of all I got like a 6-page shot record at this point. After all the crap the Army's put my body through, this will probably not be the first thing to kill me.
Yeah. Like the thing that really pissed me off was the anthrax vaccinations.
Oh, that shit hurts.
Oh, dude, that's every month. Bro,
well, the thing is,
I don't know if they don't keep track of it or what, dude. Every time I went in that bitch, I was getting anthrax.
Oh my god.
No, I got in some hot water because I would not take all the anthrax shots. They gave me like one. I'm like, this is fucking gay. I'm not doing this again.
Wasn't there a lawsuit too, bro? I'm sorry to cut you off.
And I was a triple tab to E8, so a lot of times I go in there and I'm like, just write it down. He gave it to me. Well, hey. Just write it down. He gave it to me. I'm fine. They're like,
I remember thinking too with that. I asked the people at the aid station once. I was like, anthrax, isn't that shit people get mailed? Like, is this that common that we're going to get an anthrax letter? We got to get vaccinated every half an hour for it. And she told me that there's anthrax in the dirt overseas.
Well, there's anthrax in the dirt everywhere.
Yeah, she left that part out.
Yeah, and a lot of the times, you're really not going to have a problem with anthrax unless you're sitting around near a bunch of dead bodies and rotting organic matter. So, I mean, in World War I, when there's dead guys rotting out there in no man's land, I'm sure anthrax was a severe problem to an extent. But in my opinion, I think that was stupid. Now, they did weaponize anthrax. They can, they make the spores, and it's like an NBC weapon. And all you really need to do is take some antibiotics so it doesn't take root in your body, and you're fine.
What? For real?
Yeah.
Bro, the way they gave us those shots, you would have thought there was no cure,
Yeah.
no treatment.
Yeah, like I'm turning into a zombie if I fucking get this
instantly gonna drop dead, bro.
Yeah. They're stupid. And like for the first Gulf War, I remember I was in the Ranger Regiment and they give me all these pills. And I'm like, what the fuck are these? Like, oh, this is your anti-nerve gas pills. You got to start taking them now. And I'm like, no.
Yo.
Yeah, not
They
a damn
gave,
chance.
when we went to Africa, yeah, they gave us these anti-malarial pills. And everyone that took was like, I had dreams where I was killing people, you know? I'm like, bro, I don't know. I'd rather just get malaria at this
not
point.
touch them. Bro, they even like they handed them to me and said, hey, you will have crazy dreams if you take these. I'm like, get the fuck out of here, dude. I'm already having fucking crazy ass dreams.
Yeah,
me running through the desert butt naked with an assault rifle thinking everyone's dying. Like, I don't want anything crazier than that shit.
You can also, if you're willing to take, doxycycline, you can take that every day, and that fights off malaria as well. Methylene blue will they used to use that to treat malaria back in the day.
Can we see your tongue right quick? Because you're on. Oh, man. Oh, that's cool.
Like sucking lollipops over there, bro.
Have you noticed the difference when you started taking methylene blue?
Well, one of the reasons I use the methylene blue is I've said before I had a really bad TBI with a minor stroke. My memory is shit. That's why I had you guys text me 30 minutes prior. So because sometimes I'll find myself out in the weeds, like, oh shit, and I have to run back here to unfuck myself. But yeah, I take the methylene blue, and it took about 90 days, but I'm a lot of the brain fog is starting to fade. My memory is still not that good. That's why I call this my brain. I write.
He's got a
Oh,
green
he's
one.
still got it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love these things.
Haven't seen one of those in forever.
But whenever I have an idea or I need to remember something, I'm always like, oh shit, I write it in the brain.
Write that down.
I have it in my pocket usually, and I pull it out like, what day was that?
That's my thing. Sometimes I'll like go into another room because I need something, and I'll get in the room and I'll like, what the fuck did I come here for?
That's also a side effect of PTSD. You know that, right?
That's what.
That's what Jay told us.
Yeah.
It's because everyone's brain has a certain amount of bandwidth. If you're suffering from PTSD, a lot of that is bandwidth is just getting burned up. It's like a virus in the back of your computer. It slows everything down.
Does the blue stuff? I'm sorry, Trevor. It helps with short-term memory.
Yes. Another supplement I take is called lion's mane mushrooms. I get it in a capsule form, so because I hate eating mushrooms. It just tastes like dirt and ass. I can't stand it.
Yo.
But there's a compound in that supplement that actually aids your body in making new neural connections.
Oh.
Do the research.
Yeah.
I take another one. There's a type of magnesium that will make it through the blood-brain barrier. I take that as well. I'm literally fighting this TBI memory thing with as much as I possibly can. And everyone out there, you just write that down. You do a search on the internet, like methylene blue benefits or studies. They've been using that methylene blue for 100 years. All it does is turn your tongue blue, and in the morning you piss green. Big deal.
I already do that. Okay. What type of magnesium then? You're looking for?
It's magnesium folate. I think that's what they call it. I'm really bad with the names and stuff.
Okay.
Well, it's hard to keep up when they all got some crazy ass fucking name.
Yeah, I'm writing it down. I also want to get into all that. Yeah.
I'm doing the research on these 3 supplements, which can be used to prevent the horrible side effects from getting vaccinated, i.e. the blood clots throughout your body, the closing off of your arteries and veins from the irritation, and the spike proteins.
Okay. Yeah, I was looking up. I was like, I wonder if I can unvaccinate myself from this.
Well, send me an email after this, and I'll forward you the names of the supplements, and you can do the research yourself.
Yeah, be a lot easier than trying to.
Yeah, listen, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I'm just a witch doctor. So
I trust you more than an actual doctor.
You mean you don't want to take any SSRIs and antidepressants?
Oh no!
What the hell?
When I was at Langstuhl, Germany, they put me on 2 different head meds. And I remember telling the doctor, I'm like, I'm only taking these for a year. He's like, no, you're going to have to take these the rest of your life. And I'm like, okay, a year it is then.
Yeah.
And I took it for a year because I was having legitimate problems. But after 1 year, I weaned myself off, and I have not taken them since.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Listen, head meds are a crutch. They're not meant to be a vehicle you drive around in for the rest of your life.
Yeah, dude, and that's what my thing was. Is I got home and I went to them. I'm like, look, this is everything that's going on. And instead of asking like, okay, what are you trying to do when you grow up type shit, or what's your family looking like? What do you do each day? All that type of shit. It was like, just here, hop on this. In 2 weeks, you'll be fine. It's like, well, what the fuck? Like, I'm not fixing any of my other shit. Like, you don't have any advice on what to do. Like you just had this advice. You just gave me this shit and carry on.
It's all symptoms, bro. It ain't like you're not dealing with the actual problem. You're just masking the signs.
Listen, our government has spent billions upon billions of dollars. They have hired an army of counselors and head shrink doctors, whatever you want to call them. They have made absolutely no fucking progress at all because in my opinion, they're nothing but book smart. Book smart people operate in one and two dimensions. They haven't walked the walk or talked the talk. So I literally,
this should work.
I remember I went to go see a counselor. I walk in there. She's about 28, very attractive, nice set of kazungas. I'm like, all right, I'm done. She's like, what? I go, you're just too attractive. I can't do this. And I walked out.
That's some funny shit right there, man.
I'm out of here.
Well,
I did want to ask.
I got called by the head shrink, and he's like, well, what happened? Did she offend you? I go, absolutely not. She's just, her tits are too big and she looks too good. I can't do it. I need to have a grunt who's been on the ground, slinging lead like I was, who's been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and lived to tell the tale to tell me how to fix myself.
Right, and that's actually, I just had a call with my therapist from the VA today because I wanted to change from him, and the whole process to change is absolutely ridiculous. Like I had to hop on a call with him, then he has to outsource it. He has to find out why I want to change, and I'm like, dude, I just don't want to see you. I need to see like a veteran. I need to see someone who understands this shit.
Yeah,
someone who's thought the same shit that I've thought.
Look up that video, Lens of Depression, and the ones I've done on PTSD.
Yeah.
Send them to this shrink and see what he says about it.
Shit, I mean, I've said before though, I think doing these shows is more helpful than any therapy because the people actually understand what I'm talking about.
Well, it all depends, like how the therapy is structured, and what's its track record, if it's going to work or not. Because I've tried everything, the MDMR crap where you move your eyes around and whatever. All right, listen. If you see too much evil, at some point, you just can't turn it off. And it doesn't matter how much therapy you do. If you step into the eye of oblivion, and you are blessed or cursed enough to make it back, depending upon your perspective, you bring part of that oblivion back with you every single time.
Yeah.
And most of the time, it becomes an anchor on the rest of their life, if not, the soul cancer that kills them.
Yeah, like I have this problem with my wife too, where like I'll tell her about like my problems, and most of the time I just get a head nod. She's like, "Yeah, no, you're not crazy. That's common. You're right to feel that way." And I'm like, "Okay, that's great, but that doesn't help me. Like I want a solution,
I know. Listen, I learned a long time ago. Do not ask women for advice.
Oh,
because that advice is attached to emotion, and emotions change.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to realize that with women, they don't want a They don't want a solution either. Like if my wife's complaining about something, she just wants to hear she's not crazy. Like that doesn't work for me, man. I want a solution.
The evidence of that is soap operas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They've had soap operas since they invented the goddamn radio. It's been going on for 100 years. Women like, I got to get home and watch my stories. Like, they don't have enough drama in their life. They got to watch it on TV. Like, men don't operate like that. Men are like, fuck that. Turn on this fishing channel. I want to watch some fishing and
Oh,
drink beer and chill.
dude, when we're lying in bed, me and my wife are normally watching TikToks or YouTube shorts, and sometimes I'll hear hers and I'll be like, it's funny, our algorithms. Hers will be like some girl taking selfies or whatever, and mine will be Joe Rogan talking about how we can take a bear in a fight. It's funny the way our brains are different like that.
And like, listen, I don't give a shit of Jorge was banging Angel and her sister Mary. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I don't even want to hear that. I don't care. A man fucked 2 chicks. Okay. Where's the cupcakes and beer?
Yeah.
Who cares?
Yeah, she told me a few weeks ago, she's like, did you hear Kendall Jenner and Haley Baldwin are fighting? And I'm like,
No.
no, not them. Like, what? You're a celeb. Like, bro, this is a celebrity, bro. None of them ever pay my checks.
And here's another part. These women actually get mad at their men because their men are like, it's not a big deal. And they're like, oh my God, give me, you're so animal. Ah, you're so insensitive and selfish.
Yo, you seen like people at Taylor Swift concerts too? How much they freak out about her?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, it's brutal.
I cannot understand that shit.
I worked security for Guns N' Roses in Tacoma, Washington when I was in the 2nd Ranger Battalion.
Oh, shit.
Hell yeah, dude.
And I got to see all kind. These guys walk on stage, and some of these women just start screaming hysterically, like they're watching their friends and family be like filleted alive. I'm like, that dude's got long hair, smelly bastard. Fuck that guy.
Knows how to play the guitar.
Yeah, big deal.
It's like in North
I'll
Korea.
go learn it if that's what you like. Shit.
In North Korea, when their leader dies and they're like, oh, like freaking out. Like that I get because you're gonna get killed. This is worse because it's genuine.
Yeah.
Like you would have thought Jesus Christ walked out that door, bro. I don't get the celebrity infatuation.
No, I don't get
I
it.
wanted to ask, because on the topic of women, how much hope do you see for like men my age trying to find a woman?
Well, first of all, the only reason a man should get married in this society is to have children.
Mm-hmm.
And you should only marry once. If it doesn't work out, do not do it again.
Fuck.
All right. So
Shit,
if you were married
Trevor.
once and you got away with just a light spanking of your pee-pee,
Uh-huh.
you're a lucky man.
Amen. Yep.
All right. Now, if you want to have kids, go overseas, have them over there, and keep them there. Don't bring the woman back here, because the minute they come back here, she's going to Eddie Murphy your ass. Eddie on one half. She's going to get Americanized, poisoned by the feminist mindset. I'm not happy. There goes half your shit. You're a slave. Good luck.
What if you went over to a Muslim country, got a Muslim chick, and then went to the Amish country over here? Now we're thinking outside the box.
I mean, there's always exceptions to the rule, but it is so dangerous for men today. It's the equivalent of trying to walk through a minefield. Some people are going to make it across, and some people just aren't going to.
And the first thing I learned from my past relationship or marriage was like, dude, I did everything right. I feel like I checked all the fucking boxes. How could this shit still happen? And the truth is that shit still fucking happens, no matter what you do.
There's a reason why marriage is very close to the word mirage.
Oh.
Because you get married, it's the equivalent of walking through a barren desert, because let's face it, the minute the wedding cake inoculates the wife, the blowjobs stop.
Yeah.
And the sex dries up. And you spend the rest of your life walking across this barren, lonely desert, hoping you're going to get to that mirage of water, which is love and respect, and you never make it.
Would you say there's no reason really for a man to get married nowadays?
There is no reason for a man to get married.
Yeah, you got to go find your own nice Latina, bro.
I've heard all the arguments. Well, you want companionship, get a dog. Well, you want real love. Okay, yeah, love is great, but I can get the same feeling from dark chocolate and whiskey.
Well, and two, you could just be in a committed relationship and not involve the state at all.
That's what I recommend. But the thing is they're catching on to that.
Yeah.
So make sure you're in a non, common law state.
Yeah.
All right. And don't you dare have a ceremony. Just
No ceremony.
they will fuck you hard. Did you have a ceremony? Oh, yes, but we didn't get a marriage license. Doesn't matter. Get in line. The green weenies going up your ass all the way to the bottom of the shaft.
Fall in.
All in.
Yeah.
Fall in. Double time.
No.
No, it just
God,
there's so many ways
please,
for men
no.
to get screwed. I could see. Yeah, there's really. It's like for what? What's the upside? You can do that without involving the government.
My thing is one and done, man. That's it. One and done.
Yeah.
Even for someone
Yeah, I
like
think
Trevor who
so.
did it so young for the maybe not the right reason.
Trevor, I hate to dash your hopes, brother.
Hey, you're not going to hurt our feelings, man.
But if you are familiar with the stats like I am, a first marriage, 50-50 chance of divorce. Second marriage, 63% chance of divorce. Third marriage, 73 to 75% chance of divorce. And those numbers get a lot higher when the woman's college educated and or already has a kid with another penis.
College indoctrinated.
Oh, yeah. You see,
Yeah.
see those soldiers in the army, they're like a platoon sergeant, been divorced 3 or 4 times already.
Yeah. Oof.
That would be a funny story to tell, though, bro.
Yeah. Well, I've known dozens of guys that have done that. And
Yeah.
I just think it's absolutely. I couldn't survive it. I really the amount of pain and misery I went through for the first one. I hate to sound like a coward, but I'm just being honest. I just can't do it again.
Yeah, especially with kids, bro. Like I don't have any kids, so my next marriage would be 4 kids. That doesn't work, then I'm fucked. Be in the same boat, and that's just like rolling the loaded dice. Like
That's right.
hopefully I fucking get the right.
Do you know the
10%.
percentage of women who file for divorce?
I heard it's most.
Is it 70?
It's
Something up
between
there.
70 and 80%.
Yeah.
And if the woman is college educated, it jumps up 10 more percent. So if you're a dude, why the hell would you marry a woman with a college education? Because that's almost guaranteed to get broken off and put right up your ass wrapped with barbed wire.
Whew.
That don't sound good.
No,
What?
Tell you that
Yeah.
much.
it doesn't. And I'm just sick and tired of how fucked up it is.
What got you
Yeah, 'cause
through
it's-
that one? I'm sorry.
No, and
Go ahead.
I am hoping when this marriage thing gets to the attention of like the Senate, I hope to God they subpoena me in there to talk to me because I will fucking make that a national comedy show.
Slide in with that mop
They're
stick.
fucking
man.
morons.
About to see Popp on all the news networks, dude.
Oh, dude. I
All
would
right,
eat
so
that
you've
shit
seen the number on the board, right? I'm up to
Yeah,
527 lives. All right, so
Mhm.
what I do for my own sanity is every time somebody tells me, "Hey, you kept me from killing yourself," or I watched your channel, help me, not die. I take a dog tag and I put it in this bag, and I call this bag my ransom. I ransom all these guys back from death. This is over
Whoa.
500 dog tags.
And each one of those are alive saved.
Yes. And then this set right here is another guy. I'm not going to say his name. He was changing station. He was stationed in New York and he was driving to Alaska. Purposely did a Diddy move, drove across the country so he could come here and tell me to my face and hand me personally his dog tags.
Wow. That's a fucking drive too, man. What?
Jesus Christ.
But I mean, this only has 500 tags in it. I still need to put 27 more.
Mhm.
And just think of how many men that is. That's a battalion and a half of dudes.
Yeah, and on top of that, their kids, if you count them having sons or whatever it is, you're saving those sons,
Correct.
saving the families of them. I mean, that's well over 5,000 people that aren't living in despair.
And you know what?
Yeah,
And I'm sure that number is even higher because there's about 20 or 30 guys out there that I gave the same number to. And it is what it is. It's not an exact science, but now we read everyone on the air now because I know at some point, people are going to he's a liar. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
Who would lie about that? What the fuck?
I don't know.
There's whack ass people in this world, man.
Yo,
Well,
no,
the thing
they're
is
all-
like when I did that video, Purple Heart's Final Beat, I did a couple other videos in that same genre. Within 18 months after we published that video, I was at 115, 110 guys. And I didn't really think it was a big deal. I just kept a running tally in because I have a whole stack of brains like this. And I kept a running tally in there. And then I was talking to a Catholic priest when I was right around 200. And I told him that. And he goes, fuck, I thought I was doing good. And I had like 25 over a 30-year period as a priest. And I'm like, wow, I don't know. Maybe you need to pick up your game or something.
Yo.
Yeah.
And
Hop on YouTube.
and he's literally like, you don't seem to understand. All right. You are literally with absolutely nothing defeating death and hopelessness.
Mhm.
He's like, do you have any idea how exceedingly rare that is? And that's when it hit me. I'm like, wow, holy shit. You know,
When
and
you
this
put it that way.
and the suicide thing wasn't even my main mission. This is a byproduct of my main mission. You know, and I'm just glad it worked out that way.
I'm just thinking, I think probably Trevor and maybe a few other guys on a good day that I've helped like save from suicide. It's like something I think about all the time. That's less than 5 people. I can't imagine over 500. That's got to be crazy.
Hey, we'll get there one day, bro.
Yeah, I'm saying
Yeah,
that's a
let's
good thing to have.
The
on Judgment
number's
Day.
only going up, which is fucking ridiculous. It's only going up. It started with the feminist movement. We got to shout out them.
Well,
Shout out to the
it was the
feminists.
feminist movement, no fault divorce, which was accepted pretty much across the country by 1975 to 78. And then by the time 1985 rolled around and they got their game going, that's when the pressure really started for dudes. You know, it is
That
unbelievable.
Ronald
We gotta
Reagan
take it
time
back.
frame.
Take it back to the mob days where you could slap them again.
Shut the fuck
Take their
up.
right to vote away.
Yeah.
Voting
Well,
on
you know,
emotion.
I'm just saying that feminism has won. Men and women are completely equal. So, ladies, when you're out there in the real world, just remember, with equal rights come equal lefts. And since you're looked upon now as a man, we're not going to ride to your rescue. It's all on you. Cowboy up, sack up, and unfuck your own life.
Yeah, my mom's a very feminist individual until it's time to go on the roof or carry the groceries in her.
Every time.
Something.
Yeah. And you need to be like, you know what? You don't get the best of both worlds. You want to be strong and independent? Go for it.
Get to work.
All in.
That's right.
Because this shit ain't, it's not like we fucking woke up and chose this shit, man. Like we I don't want to work 40 hours a week just as much as you don't. Why do you want to do this? This shit doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Why do you want to go work a corporate job?
Well, the thing is, a lot of these ladies are now, when they get north of 30, they get really upset the fact that, like, I have to do this for the rest of my life. That's where I came up with one of my signature sayings for my channel. 40 to 80 is a long fucking time.
Wow.
To not have kids, to not have anything.
That's
like,
right. Listen, you don't even have to punish these ladies. You just ignore them. Reality will take care of the rest.
Yeah, I read a tweet. It was like, if you don't have kids, the second half of your life is just going to be filled with death.
Correct.
Whoa.
Well, you know, I'm 54, so I'm on the back 9 now. You know, and you know,
better back there anyway.
I'm at the stage where I have to warm up to sleep. I injure myself in my sleep, and I don't even know it till I wake up. Everything's starting to hurt and ache.
House is 80 degrees or something crazy.
Yeah. Well, yeah. My house is a little on the cold side because it's haunted, but that's another story.
Oh,
shit. You cool if I send the final question, Trev? I got a good one.
Yeah, rip it, dude.
Yeah, so I do the final questions on these, and I wanted to ask you about the purpose thing. If there is anyone listening to this that not necessarily a soldier, but just a guy who's 18 to 25, really feels like they have no purpose, where would you say they should start to find that purpose?
Well, they should look at other dudes and follow their example. And like a lot, like one of the things that helped me with my purpose, because I've always been a leader, I lead from the front by example, is I literally went through all of this crazy shit up until a point of almost fucking death. And I'm like, you know what? I'll just lead these guys behind me away from this trap. And that became my purpose.
That's exactly where I derived my shit from.
Yep.
It's the same exact shit, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Feels like you
listen,
got the answers.
I'm not a gifted orator or whatever you call it. I'm just a grunt. I've given thousands upon thousands of briefings to geniuses and idiots alike. And the best way to do it is you just make it simple, direct, and as truthful as possible.
It's the finding those guys that you got to do, really.
And like one of the other things I have is an acronym called CHILL. It's spelled CHILLL. And that stands for calm, higher intelligence, latitude, laughter, and if all else fails, live out of fucking spite. Fuck them.
Yeah.
Hey.
Yeah.
That makes sense. A lot of boxers do that, I hear. You got to be got to have something to prove to be a fighter.
Yeah, I suppose. I mean, I fought professionally too, so I understand that.
Yeah. No, that's a great answer, man.
Yeah, fuck. This was awesome, man.
Yeah.
This was awesome. Like I said, man, it was 8 months ago. Just fucking looking at my own screen, maybe a year ago now, just staring at my YouTube screen, watching you clowns on the fucking watching you clowns on there with the girlfriend who, I mean, great lady, but feminist mom and all that shit. And I didn't know where to go. I was just doing the podcast, and
yep,
maybe didn't stop me from suicide, but gave me a little more push to keep it going. So and it really just woke my eyes up that I wasn't the only fucking one thinking this. Like to see a man, who's been through it like you've seen kids go through it. That was the biggest things. Like I knew a first sergeant role, so I knew like, yeah, this dude's dealing with the fucking idiots.
He gets
so all the shit he's seen, like he fucking gets. I'm just another idiot. But just listen to this guy. There's got to be a way out. And yeah, man, just thanks for coming on. Thanks for putting out the content, because it, like you said, it's saving lives. No one can deny it. Fuck, man.
Well, just watch my videos, share the channel. I'm just trying to add more names to the board. We the last guy was like on Tuesday, 527. So
yeah. Oh, okay.
Well, hopefully catch you later.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's been awesome having you on. I love getting advice from older people that know what it's like, because that's the best way to learn right there, I think.
It is. It is. Just don't be an asshole about it, which is an individual who asks for advice but never takes it.
Yeah.
Oh, no, that is not who we are. But we're going to show you. We're going to show you.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Telling you won't do anything. We're just show you. Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. It's been real.
For sure.
You have a good one, man.
All right.
I'll be tuning in tonight. You'll see me in there. Have a good